My name is Frank Centwali, and these are 10 things that shelter in place has meant for me. Shelter in place, pandemic, COVID-19, George Floyd, social unrest. Conceal but most definitely carry, lost dreams, lost vision, personal strife, suffering for love, family bonds, new friends, cloudy future, forward movement only to end up back where things began. Sheltering in place. It's been quite a journey through the year of 2020 into 2021. In many ways, it's been a coming of life of the 1985 classic George Benson hit 2020, where the smooth jazz legend sings, "If I knew back then what I know now, if I understood the what, when, why, and how, then it's clear to me what I should have done." But then again, hindsight is always 2020 vision, right? Follow me through 10 things I now clearly see as I offer up 10 things shelter in place has meant to me. 1, people plan and God laughs. It was around 9 p.m. on March 10th. How could I forget the day? Thanks to negligent national leadership, pandemic was well underway. But as an assistant coach on the Richfield High School basketball team, we were planning to compete the second to last stage of a mission well planned and tirelessly worked for. The key senior had stayed through 20 loss season after 20 loss season, and finally, in his senior year, he made it to the mountaintop. As the final seconds ticked off of Richfield High's first section championship and state tournament berth in over a decade and a half, the tears poured down Jeff's eyes. He was about to achieve every high school athlete's first dream. He was going to state. And then the next day, he wasn't. Not a full 24 hours after the tears of joy overflowed, they were replaced with tears of sadness and disappointment. Shelter in place means our youth would suffer, and they continue to suffer. We all had plans for 2020, but God's hearty chuckle at our plans has gone viral. 2, I meant to became I have to. In 2019, I plan to create a video package of my introduction to spoken word arts enrichment curriculum. I let the summer make me lazy and put it off. I regretted that decision. In March 2020, I make my livelihood teaching spoken word in classrooms across the state as an independent contract arts educator. But in March, the governor closed the schools. And that meant for me the cancellation of over $11,000 worth of contracts. That was my entire March, April, and May income. I have a family of 6 plus myself to feed, a home mortgage, car insurance, bills. Shelter in places meant that those who can adapt quickly survive. I created that video residency program in 3 days. I'd be ready for the next school year no matter what it looked like. What I meant to do in 2019, I had to do in 2020. 3, pandemic. I'm sure I'm not the only one that shelter in place has done a number on in terms of their relationship. My wife decided it was all too overwhelming. Me, pandemic, feeling trapped in her own mind, body, marriage, and existence. She basically left me for what she felt would be greener pastures. Or maybe because she just wanted different pastures regardless of their hue. She didn't completely leave, but she was so emotionally, when not physically gone, checked out. See, so many people lost so much during this shelter-in-place experience. Lives, livelihoods, love, their way. This pandemic has become such a pain-demic. Get fit to fight. 4, shelter in place has meant find a way to get fit. If the best way to fight COVID and depression is a strong immune system and a strong body, then I have to be stuck in the house, then I might as well, dust off those old P90X DVDs and get my butt in shape. If I can't congregate outside, I might as well go jogging or bike riding. 20 pounds later and lighter, I realized that shelter in place has also meant eating better, less restaurants, feeling better, yoga and push-ups and jump rope, and getting ready for a potential body invasion. 5. If I live to tell about it, if I live to tell about the summer of 2020, I want to be able to tell the story well. Shelter in place has meant time for planning. I think I hear God laughing again. I decided in May I was going to go back to school. My mother is in her 70s and she's always been disappointed that I chose stages over study, music studios over university libraries. I also realized that I needed to broaden my horizons. If I had to be stuck in place, then I was going to use this stationary moment to reboot my educational aspirations. Shelter in place meant enrolling at Metro State. 6. There's no such thing as new friends. In a poem I once wrote, there's a line that says, "There's no such thing as new friends, just spirits we haven't re-encountered yet." Along with marital turmoil and COVID-19, isolation came sleepless nights and empty mornings. Then an old colleague came into my life, a little cute thing. COVID had done an additional number on her marriage as well, so we formed our own little 2-person support group. Next, you know, I was spending more time with a cousin I rarely saw before. My brother and I spent more time together than any summer in recent memory. I learned that shelter in place doesn't necessarily have to mean shelter in isolation. Thank goodness for those old spirits we just haven't re-encountered yet. 7. Family ties. For years, my children and I have tossed around the idea of a family camping trip. Well, when the mandate from the state is social distancing, we figured there's nowhere that has more space than the great Minnesota Northland woods. So my original starting 5, as I affectionately call my biological son and his 4 teen sisters, we packed up the SUV, hooked up the boat, and headed to Greer Lake Campground. Our 3 nights of storytelling, fishing, cooking over an open fire, and visiting grandma from a distance, who lives near, was just what the doctor ordered to combat COVID depression. Shelter in place? Nah. Let nature and family shelter me in my heart and outside my home. 8. No shelter from black skin. There was no shelter from being black in America. Not even a pandemic or shelter-in-place orders can stop the police from exercising their state-issued authority to brutalize black bodies, to break black bodies. So when Officer Chauvin kneeled on the neck of George Floyd for over 8 minutes, America was reminded of a different pandemic. A disease that has no universally accepted vaccine and still no cure. Good old-fashioned American racism doesn't take a break for a public health crisis. As we all watch Chauvin stare, cold, empty soul stare into the video camera of the teen girl helplessly feeling her smartphone was her only choice of weapon against police brutality, I ended up watching from a distance as a city burned, and I feared for my family. City fires would pop up all over the nation, people deciding that crooked cops were more catastrophic than COVID-19. The president unleashed federal troops on U.S. cities. The United States became, again, a reflection of the divided snakes of America. And we all came to know what we've always known. There is no shelter for black skin when the rainstorm of bigotry and racism and systemic oppression come raining down. 9. Art for change. Shelter in place is meant a reminder of why I write, a reminder of why I fight, a reminder of why I spit white-hot poetry from stages and why I encourage the youth to do the same. It has meant murals and window art on boarded up shops. It has meant addressing police, racism, unity, freedom, change, and human connectivity. Shelter in place has meant that material wealth in hip-hop has to take a backseat to social commentary at least for a while. For me, it has meant a resurgence of poetry, short story, and the notes that would eventually find their way into a memoir. If I can thank God, if I can thank COVID for anything, It's the reminder that I am an artist. And when the world is in crisis, I am an essential worker. The world needs me and people like me. 10. Love conquers all. My children, my mother, my students, the players I coach, my wife, myself, my community, my people, my friends, my life. Shelter in place has meant being still. It has meant reflecting on all the obstacles life presents and recognizing the only way to navigate the maze is with love. We all have the same destination. How we arrive there matters. When the world reminds you that you're only one dry cough and short breath away from that final destination by way of social media, the news, the phone call from friends and loved ones to tell you so-and-so or such and such has succumbed to COVID, you remember how much you loved very quickly. You're reminded how much you love and what was so lovable about them. You know that the power of love is awesome, like the power of God. It's unexplainable. It comes with joy and pain and frustration and fear and ignorance and submission. Shelter in place has meant remembering that love is the only way we make it. It's the only thing that keeps us generating and keeps us being curious. It's love that pushes us through times like these, and there are always times like these. My grandmother used to say when times would get rough, and this too shall pass. My mother now says that to me. And she always says, Frankie, you have a gift. You have an amazing perspective on people, and you bring so much love to them. Well, I have experienced a lot of moments and movement while sheltering in place. I've stumbled and witnessed and seen a state literally and figuratively on its knee. But I've not felt nor saw complete collapse or fail. I've watched love persevere. Shelter in place hasn't meant being still. It's meant stopping to love, because love conquers all. I'm Frank Centwali, and these are 10 things that shelter in place has meant for me.